Hey, what's up everyone? In this video I'm going to show you how I remove the Conspicuity stripes from this particular tank car here. Turn it this way, that the way the glare is gone. These particular stripes are typically found on rail cars from 2005 and later, so anytime from 2005 up until today, just for safety reasons, visibility. It's easier to see the rail car at night, etc., etc. The year that I'm modeling is 1996. Now this car was built new as of May 1995, according to the build date here, which fits my modeling year. However, the stripes, this thing is detailed as though it was, striped as of 2005 or later. So this thing's been on the rails for quite a while. They added the stripes to it. Obviously, it's not weathered or anything like that because it's new out of the box, but I still wanted to, make it fit my era. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove these stripes. And to do that, I did a little research, and online I found a couple videos on how other people are doing it. So I tried that, didn't quite work the way I thought it would. Found out there was a little bit of a detail that was kind of left out that I found, and I got it to work. And so I'm going to go over that today. So you're going to need some microsol. I'm going to use an X-Acto knife for some stuff, a brush to apply the microsol, and some cotton swabs, and some toilet paper, or tissue paper, or any sort of thin paper towel-like material here, just to help with some absorption. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this up and restart the camera here, and I'll get into it. Okay, so before I begin, I'm just going to demonstrate here that I've already done one side of the car. So I already know that this is going to work. I had some trial and error. Like I was saying before, I followed some other videos. I wasn't actually getting the result they were getting in the videos, so I'm not exactly sure what happened by the time they said, oh, I'm going to do this. They pause the camera, come back later, and it's done. And you're like, okay, well, it looks like it worked, but in reality, it wasn't working for me, and there were some details that I found that were left out, at least in the videos that I saw. And so hopefully I'll fill in those gaps. And so basically what I'm going to do is tell you what I'm going to do first, and then I'll demonstrate it in real time here. And so basically what I'll do is I'll take some microsol, load up the brush, and then take one of these, I cut these into strips already, but one of these toilet paper sheets here, and I'm basically going to take a little bit of that toilet paper, fold it in half, so I get a little bit of thickness there, and I'm going to lay it over one of the stripes, and then I'm basically going to douse the toilet paper with the microsol. But I'm going to be careful as to not put this damp piece of tissue paper over things that I don't want to remove. So once this stuff has time to set up, it's really easy to take this stuff off. So this is all pad printed, and it's different than the paint that's on the actual base of the car, which is most likely some sort of acrylic-based paint. Now you could take like isopropyl alcohol and start rubbing these things off. It will remove paint, but keep in mind it will remove all the paint. So you don't want to remove the base coat, you just want to remove the pad printed part. And that's where the microsol is handy. So it's strong enough to take off paint, but it's not quite strong enough to just remove all the paint in one go. So it needs time to set up. And time is the key that was missing out of at least the videos that I was trying to follow. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to wet this paper towel, or this tissue paper, over top of each stripe. I'll do one at a time. And then just let it set, and keep wetting it over time until I've reached at least the amount of time that I want it to be set on there. And then when I take it off, I can just kind of scrub it off real quick. So that's basically what I'm going to do. And so I'm going to restart this camera. I only have so much time that I can record at a single time. It's my DSLR, and it's got the setting that I have it on. I can only record so many minutes at a time. So I'm going to start that over so I can get the whole thing in, and then we'll be good to go. Okay, so to get things started here, you can see I've got a phone set up here, and it's just to show the timer in real time. So what I've found is that I've seen recommendations where you put the microsol on, you leave it on for a couple minutes or maybe 5 minutes, and then you're good to go. Well, what I've found is that these videos were made quite a long time ago, so I don't know if pad printing has just gotten, the paint that they use just gotten that much more durable. 5 minutes is definitely not enough. You have to really scrub pretty hard to get that off, and then you start, getting into making marks on the car and things like that. So what I've found is that if you let it sit for at least 10 minutes, it comes off real easy. And in some of these edges here, what I do is leave it for at least 15, and then it comes off even easier. Now you can leave it on for 10, 15, 20 minutes if you want, and it'll come off a lot easier as you go. But keep in mind that the longer you leave it on, the more you'll be affecting the base paint underneath as well. So I've found that 10 minutes is good for sections in the middle, and then on the edges I leave it for 15 because it comes off a little bit easier, and there's these grab irons and all kinds of things on the side that I don't want to damage by scrubbing too hard. Not that you have to scrub that hard at all, but it's hard to get in there, and so I want it to come off a lot easier. So what I do is I leave it on for a little bit longer. So I'm going to set this for 10 minutes. And then we'll get going with this. We'll leave this one right here. And so it doesn't matter, it'll get on there. What I'll do is I'm going to take the microsol here, and I'll start the timer once I actually apply it. So make sure I only get over the part that I want to remove. Dab it on there so it starts to stick. Soak it in there, really get it in there. Now the key to using the tissue paper is that the microsol will only set on the paper unless you completely douse it and it starts dribbling down the side. You can start the, oops, I'm going to start that over, start the timer. And the key here is that by using the tissue paper, the liquid kind of adheres it temporarily to the side of the car. So that gives you a lot of surface area of microsol being constantly applied towards the paint underneath it. So I'm going to let that set for a minute, and that every minute that goes by I'll apply a little bit more, maybe just a little bit more to start, just to get a good base. And so, because it will start to evaporate and start to dry out, so every minute I'll come back and apply a little bit more. Again, I'm going to speed this part of the video up so you don't have to watch it in real time, but you will be able to see the timer here. So there's no gimmicks, no tricks. I'm not going to pause the camera, come back later, and it'll be all done. So you'll get to see exactly what I did to get the results that I got on the other side. So I'll speed this up, and I'll keep applying microsol every minute, basically on the minute. Oh, looks like we need to do it. I've been talking for a minute. All right. There we go. All right, so 10 minutes is up. What we're going to do is we are going to remove the tissue paper. Now I realized that I had actually was soaking part of these letters down here, so I'm not going to be rubbing that part. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to dip one of these cotton swabs in the microsol just to kind of wet it up. And then I'm just going to rub gently against this stripe, and you're going to see a little harder. Starting to come off. There we go. This side's a lot harder than the other one. It's printed on there pretty good. There we go. Now it's coming off. I could have probably let this set up another couple minutes on this particular stripe. That's really on there good. I'm not pressing too hard. I don't want to press too hard. But there we go. It's basically all gone. There we go. Yeah. All right. Now the other side, I will be honest, the other side came off a lot easier. So, I don't know, maybe they dipped this side twice. All right, there we go. And then I'm just going to dry this off just by dabbing it here with a dry tissue paper. And there we go. All gone. So now I'm just going to do the rest. The same thing to the rest of them. I'll probably let it sit on another 2 to 3 minutes for the middle ones, and then definitely, and maybe I'll just do 15 minutes per each one. Like I said, the other side came off so easy. This one had to took an extra 30 seconds to get that off. So, but I did not damage the paint underneath, so that's good. The one thing it does do is it leaves a little bit of a shininess here, like a little bit of a gloss, you know, from rubbing the Microsol against this. So all I need to do is just spray it with some dull coat and it'll go flat again. So no big deal there. So I'm just going to do the rest of these, and then at the end of waiting for one of these to be finished up so I can start scrubbing it off, I'll come back and I'll show you how I take the end stripes off. Okay, so I have let this set up for 15 minutes here on the edge. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this tissue paper away. Now I could try to get one of these cotton swabs in there, but chances are I might bend something. So what I'm going to do is just take the back side of an X-Acto blade, just kind of scrape gently. You can see it's coming off real easy now. Hopefully you can see that. Very gently. Don't want to scratch anything. There we go. See, this is how it was coming off on the other side. So I think, now that I was looking at the paint a little bit more, and I think it's just printed a little bit thicker on this side. So even the letters and the numbers they appear thicker compared to the other side. So I think I just needed to leave it on just another few minutes. So what I'll do is, I'll do maybe this one over here. Oh, you can't see it because it's off camera. I'll do this one over here at 15 minutes, and we'll see how easily that one scrubs off. I'm not going to, make you wait 15 minutes, of course. I'll do that off camera, and then at the end, after the 15 minutes is up, I'll start the camera up again. You've already seen in real time the first one. It did come off pretty easy after a little bit of scrubbing, but honestly, the other side came off just as easy as this end piece over here after leaving it for 15 minutes. Alright, so that's pretty good. So what I'll do is I'll get this side set up. I'll let it go the 15 minutes soaking in the tissue with the Microsol, and then I'll turn the camera back on at the 15-minute mark, and we'll see how easy this one comes off. Murphy's Law, right? Of course it's gonna, of course it's gonna be a little bit harder the first time I demonstrate it. So we'll see how this one goes. Okay, so I let this one go a full 15 minutes here, and what I'm gonna do is remove tissue paper. See how this one goes. And I'm going to start with one of the Q-tips and just gently rub. It's wetted with Microsol. And that's on there pretty thick. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to take the back of this blade and we'll try it that way. And that's starting to come off. It's on there pretty thick. I can feel it. So the trick to this side of the car apparently is just letting it sit a little bit longer, just because it is a thicker application of paint from the pad printing. And just make sure I don't scrape anything up here. But that's coming off pretty good. So now I know why this side's a little bit tougher. Alright, so we'll just do this real quick. Get that off. Make sure I don't rub any of the letters off. Those are definitely not on there very thick, those small letters. And There we go. So I'll work on getting the rest of this little bit off here. Hopefully you found some tips and tricks in here and you found this helpful. It's definitely a fun little process. It's just the key is the wait time. So you just need to let it sit there and soak. You can't be too eager with it. You have to let it dissolve what it can. And then you should be good to go. Alright, so just a couple little things I gotta tie up here. But other than that, yeah, looks pretty good. So I'm going to do the rest of the stripes and the car will be done. And then I've got a few other cars that I need to do as well. And also a locomotive that I'll be detailing up. But hopefully, yeah, you got some tips and tricks out of this. Hopefully you found it useful. And as always, thanks for watching. Take care. And we'll see you next time.